Cluster analysis. This cluster analysis will divide the data into groups, that is clusters. And how does it just divide? Simply it will not divide. It will divide in meaningful, which is meaningful and which is also useful. Okay. So it divides the data into groups which is meaningful, useful or both. And if our goal is to find meaningful groups, then the clusters should capture the natural structure of the data. So collection of data objects similar or related to one another within the same group or dissimilar to the objects in other groups. So that is nothing but a cluster. Analysis, we find similarities between the data according to the characteristics found in the data and grouping similar objects into clusters. We will just group them into clusters. So the meaningful groups, if that is the goal, then you have to concentrate on natural structure of the data. Sometimes what happens is cluster analysis will only be a starting point for other purpose, such as a data summarization. If you take data summarization, there it will just be a starting point for such purposes. In some cases it could be that. Whether it's for understanding or for a utility, this cluster analysis will have an important role in a variety of fields like psychology, social science, biology, statistics, pattern recognition. If you will notice in your when you'll come to your final year, if we are asking you to decide any project for each semester, you usually go for machine learning. So it's usually used in this pattern recognition, image processing, information retrieval, machine learning, data mining, and so these are some of the fields in which these cluster analysis plays an important role. Okay. So some of the okay, these are the fields. Why do we need to? What is clustering? So clustering for data understanding and its application. These are the fields in which the clustering will be used. As you know, these clusters, which are the meaningful groups, will have common characteristics and they play a very important role in how people will analyze and describe the world. So as an example, if you will take, if you consider young people, so young children, they can quickly label the objects in a photograph as building, vehicles. If you give a photograph for them, they can quickly try to label the objects in that photograph, like this building, vehicle, people, etc. Okay. And that means that humans are skilled at dividing the object into groups or clusters and assigning particular objects to these groups. But how to deal with the machines, which we'll try, how to carry out by using machines. So these are some of the examples of clusters. Like the following are some of the examples for clustering. So biology, if you take in the field of biology, this biologist will spend many years creating a taxonomy of these living things like kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genes and species. And so the most recently what these biologists have applied clustering to, analyze large amount of genetic information which are available now, and it is also used to find group of genes that have similar functions. Recently where they are used, where this clustering is used is, the biologists have been using it to just identify the genetic information and find group of genes that have similar functions. So these are some of the applications in which clustering is used. Some of the applications in which clustering is used, and it's used for information retrieval. The second application is it is used to retrieve the information. As you know, your World Wide Web will have billions of web pages, and Whenever you give some query to search engine, it will return you with thousands of pages, isn't it? So this clustering will be used to group these search results into smaller number of clusters, and then again each of which will capture a particular aspect of the query. Like we will give the query, particular aspect is caught, and they will try to group these group the pages into different groups. For example, if you take if the query is movie, then it will return web pages which are grouped into categories such as reviews, trailers, stars, theaters, and etc. Here each cluster, when it retrieves the information, each cluster will be further divided into subcategories, wherein you can have an hierarchical structure which will help you to which will help the user to explore more, like you can get more query results if you have this structure. So this is clustering. So category, this each category, the cluster will be broken into subcategories and produces a hierarchical structure that further will help the user to assist a user's exploration of the query results. So it will you can explore more by having a hierarchical structure. Then when it comes to climate, so understanding the Earth's, if at all if you want to know, for understanding Earth's climate, finding patterns of atmospheric and ocean, all these things can be easily understood by using this clustering. One second. Okay, sorry. Okay. So information retrieval where okay, climate, we were discussing climate. So understanding Earth's climate, as you know, will require to find patterns in the atmosphere and ocean. So clustering serves an application there. Then you also have, in case of psychology and medicine, it can be used in psychology and medicine field as well. So if an illness or condition frequently has a number of variation, and cluster analysis can be used to identify these different subcategories. So if particular illness or condition, if it is frequently having variations, then cluster analysis can be used to identify these different subcategories. So there also it serves as an example. So it can be used to detect patterns in this spatial or temporal distribution of a disease. So we can also say that corona, it's even this is as number of variations, isn't it? So here also we can go for clustering to identify or to categorize them into different types, different subcategories. It can also be used in business. So your businesses, as you know, will have large amounts of data to be collected on potential as well as current customers. So clustering can be used to segment customers into smaller number of groups for additional analysis and marketing activities. So dividing, wherever a division is required and we need to analyze, there and all we can go for clustering, isn't it? If at all, if you want to just divide the data into different categories and analyze them separately, there also we can apply the clustering. And clustering can also be used for utility, like it provides an abstraction from individual data objects to the clusters in which those data objects will reside. So we have some clustering techniques which categorize each cluster in terms of cluster prototype as well. And so for this, so therefore this clustering analysis is nothing but a technique for finding the most representative cluster prototypes. Under this we have this summarization. So what happens, many data analysis techniques like regression or PCA will have time or space complexity of big of m square. Usually time complexity or space complexity will be big of m square or higher than that, and it becomes impractical to use. Thus they are not practical for these large data sets. But instead of applying the algorithm to the entire data set, because applying the data to regression or PCA where the complexity is big of m square, we can just divide the entire data set and we can apply to these reduced data set consisting of only those cluster prototypes, and depending on the type of analysis, we can just find out the number of prototypes and the accuracy with which the prototypes represent the data, and we can compare the results of those data to whatever is obtained if all the data could have been used together. So instead of applying for the whole data set where it takes more time to do the analysis, we can just divide it based on the cluster prototypes, and then we can analyze them, and the same result can be used to compare with how we can just after finding result for this, we can say that if whole data is also included, the same, we may end up with getting the same result. So we compare to those, and we also conclude that it would have been the same result would have been obtained if all the data would have been used. So for summarization, we can divide the data, perform operation on that, identify the result, and say that if all data is also included, the same we get the same result. So that is summarization. And when it comes to compression, so these cluster prototypes can also be used for data compression. So what is cluster analysis? Is nothing but the study of technique for finding the most representative cluster prototypes. Okay, so these cluster prototypes can also be used for data compression. So summarization is one of the field in which this clustering can be used as a pre-processing tool, and in compression also. So cluster prototypes sorry, can can also be used for data compression. So what we do is we just create a table that consists of prototypes for each cluster, and each object is represented by the index of the prototype associated with that particular cluster, and such a type of clustering is known as vector quantization. Here it's known as vector quantization, and is usually will be applied on images, sound, video, data, where many of these data objects will be similar to each other, and some loss of information is acceptable, and here a substantial reduction in the data size is also desired. So where is this vector quantization applied? It's applied to images, sound and video data, where many of the data are highly similar and some loss of information is acceptable, and also a substantial reduction in the data size is also desired. In those cases, we use this vector quantization. So here what happens, it creates a table that consists of the prototypes for each cluster, and each prototype will be assigned an integer value, that is its index in the table, and each object is represented by the index of the prototype associated with the cluster. That's the procedure which is followed in vector quantization. And it can also be used to find the nearest neighbors. This cluster prototypes can also be used to find the nearest neighbors, wherein we have to compute the pairwise distance between all points. If you will remember k in n, we will find the distance between 2 points, isn't it? So we'll be required to compute the pairwise distance between all points, and these clusters and their cluster prototypes will be useful for these finding the nearest neighbors. And if objects are relatively close to the prototype of their cluster, then we can use the prototypes to reduce the number of distance computation which are necessary to find the nearest neighbor of an object. And if two cluster prototypes are far, then objects in the corresponding clusters cannot be nearest neighbor of each other. If they are far, they cannot be nearest neighbor of each other. If they are relatively close to each other, then we can just find the nearest neighbors of an object. So to find object's nearest neighbor, we just have to compute the distance to object in nearby clusters, where the nearness of two clusters, how do we measure the nearness of two clusters? By the distance between their prototypes. So this we will study in detail further. So in this chapter or in this module, we just we will have an introduction to cluster analysis. So we'll start with high-level overview of clustering, and then we'll have a discussion on various approaches to divide the objects into set of clusters and different types of clusters, and then we will discuss the 3 specific clustering techniques like k-means, agglomerative hierarchical, clustering, and dbSCAN. Okay, so what is clustering analysis? So we will just yes. So what is cluster analysis? It just groups the data based on information which is found in the data, which describe the objects and their relationship. So here our main goal is that we will just group the objects into a group which are similar to one another and also which are different from, which are unrelated. We will have a group of related objects and unrelated objects. So the greater the similarity within a group and greater the difference between the group, the better or more distinct the clustering will be. So in many of the applications, the notion of this cluster is not well defined. So in order to understand the difficulty of deciding what